Alrighty. Gonna be looking at some Lijang lanes. Put some bots in just to a little bit more entertaining. So this first one, I kind of explained it to Astrantia as far as what you can do to get out faster. So the kind of it was kind of hard to explain from the angle I was at, but now so usually Astrantia, I say usually, that's not true. So during the match, I was spectating, kind of reviewing for my own benefit. We saw Strontia play main healer Mercy, and what I told them they could do was switch it temporarily to a Lucio while they were in spawn, um, giving everybody right here, all 5 people in aura, including the Lucio who's transmitting that aura. And as soon as this gate right here went down, what I told them what they could do was speed boost all of those people out like that. And then as this is happening, we make a switch to a Mercy and then use our ability to catch up. It doesn't hurt, and as a matter of fact, it helps you get to the point faster. If you don't do it, it's fine. If you do, it's fine. Saves you like 2-3 seconds, if that. But anyway, the thing with control maps is there's a lot of lanes. So what I'm going to be focusing on is this area right here. All around to here. So this giant, just like area, of course it goes back further. Because if you're getting held somewhere back here or back there, like a spawn held, no real reason for you to be looking at lanes right now. It's far more to what's happening over here that you need to understand before trying to understand all this mess. So in a minute, I'm gonna get a better angle over here. Shoddy camera work. Alright. So this is gardens right here. So a lot of ways you can go about this. Usually people avoid going this way because of a fear of a Pharah. We're not always running Pharah right now, so just take that in consideration. This is a path. It's the quickest one in there. But anyway, plans of attack is all you. I'm going to show you the lanes and explain to you why control is one of the hardest ones to understand. So basically, these lanes, which I will always do in pink, from here to here. We have one from here to here. Not really from here to here, but you can do from here to here. And same thing over here. And same thing over here. And then as well as over here. So right out, oh, and then you have this one. There's a lot. And you have this one. And from here, from this angle, that's about it. You can get from like here to here. A little harder for that range. Same thing from there, like the corner of there to like over here. So, a lot of lanes, a lot of them. I'll explain what to do with this giant mess in a second. Alrighty, so there's a lane from, I explained from here to there. Actually one from here to here. This window and this just general area would be a lot. And then from here that way. And we saw Ashanti kind of deal with that lane. It's a big one. And then it's kind of what you have going on from over here. And coming up is where two of the biggest ones are going to be at. So, biggest lanes, and if you could see down here, right now that are really popular is this giant one. I talked to Astronti about it. There's some high ground on both of these that give you vision to here, vision to there. Same thing with this one, vision down to here, vision over here. So this could be utilized in a couple of different ways. Just keep these in mind. And then of course there's coming from like the ends to like this area right over here. And then of course there's a special one, and I'll speak to that in a minute. Yeah, so as you can see, there's some high ground over here. Gives you some leverage from here to there. There. You have some from here to here. Yep. And then from here to there. Same. And you can usually see all this high ground from all this ground from over there. So a lot of places you can go with. The one that Ashanti was looking at was this one. The Hanzo was right over here. So that was one. Okay, so I'm about to go in and kind of show you some visuals on that. Biggest one you want on control is avoid fighting in here. I'm not going to say always, because that's not true. But try to avoid as much as possible fighting in here. Why? Because I showed you all the lanes that go into there. And if you're bunched up in there, you really leave a lot of room for error. That's why it's smarter to defend here against this wall. Here, I won't talk about defending right now. Just kind of show you it. So yeah, just try to avoid this area right here. Always, like whatever it is, whatever map it is, the control point, try to avoid fighting on there. It just causes a lot of chaos. There's a lot of angles to approach it to. So this is a popular one what people like to hold. I'm not sure what the thinking behind it is, but as you can see down this one pretty fair, like safely. Yeah, you step out a little further, you might be playing with fire right here with this pit, or this one. So it's safer to stay back here. But you can see this lane pretty well. This one, not so much. But you can see this one. What happens most of the time when you're holding here with anybody that's really coordinated is they'll just ignore you. And they'll bring the fight over here. Really quickly. Because you don't have enough time to react. So while you're reacting, they could push up this way, push this way, take this high ground over here, fire from there. A lot of things can happen in the process of you moving from here to over there. So that's why I don't recommend this hold right here. Just because against a really well coordinated team, they're just going to ignore you and establish their own presence. Not on the point, but they're just going to set their own footing while you're trying to catch your balance. And as you can see, so they see you right over here. They have pretty good line of sight there, and they can just ignore you and go over there. And once you're moving from here to over here, they can move in behind you. This is another one. You can see straight in there. Okay, so this is the one that the red team, when I was reviewing Ashanti, decided to fight from. They had a good idea. I wish they would have stayed in here because it forces people to come through here. They come to you and fight you. That means they have to go through this little corridor in order to get to you. Same thing with here. But this lane right here is all about who can get the first picks. And if you're firing from here, and they know how to defend this area over here, over here, you're gonna have to push in, but you have to do it smart. You can't really charge in there. You have to like slowly inch your way up this way. Because what happens is that if they have a Farah like Ashanti did out here in this nowhere lane, she can fly, so she creates a bunch of lanes for herself. But over on this area, she just has free reign on you. So it's better to deal with the Farah if you can at first, and then try to push in. If not, you slowly inch up, try to take care of the Farah, and if you can't take care of her, you rush in there. That way she, when her concussion blast is on cooldown, rush in there. She reloading, if you can memorize the number of shots, or if you know how far it plays as far as, is it shoot, reload, or shoot, reload, or shoot 5 times and then reload. So if you can know those things, or know the timings of them, and you're paying attention to them, you can make it in there pretty easily and kind of like bash your way in there. So anyway. And as you can see a lot from here. Here's a lane. There's a lane. Go around this rock. There's a lane. And there's a lane into that window, and into this whole area that's exposed right here, basically. So. So this is what you'll see a lot of if you take this route. You'll see the continuation of that lane, which goes over here. You'll get a new one. You'll get 3 or 4 more. So you'll get this one, you'll get that one, you'll gain that one, and you'll gain that one. Plus, if you move slightly to the left, now you gain this one. So a lot more when you're on the ground. So these are the kind of things you can defend. I've explained to kind of our Arcadian how to like manage your lanes and stuff like that. So it's just the same principle. We can get into a little bit about defending, because it's the same scenario for the rest of this map. They're not sight lines. Again, I don't like that term being used for lanes, because sight lines could be from here to there, but that's not a lane. Here are my sight lines. Yeah, this thing is my sight lines, but it's not really a lane. This is a lane. That's a lane. This one going over here, it's a lane. Over there is a lane. Over there is a lane. Same thing. So those are lanes. This yellow one in the middle is a sight line. Lanes are in sight lines, but not all sight lines are lanes. Hope that makes sense. Lanes are a lot longer. Sight lines is what's in your sight lines, literally. So defending control, this might be a little bit controversial. Defending control, you have to be willing to think outside the box. You have to be willing to use the space in between their choke spawn, which I spoke about on a little earlier, where I said I wasn't going to speak about anything before it, because if you're stuck before it, then there's something else that you need to work on. That's cooperation, and teamwork. And if you're getting spawn camped behind those lines, you don't need to be looking at lanes right now. But anyway, you have to be willing to use that space. You can't think of it as their space and our space. You can't think of Lijang being split down the middle of control where they have 50% and we have 50%. So in a way, you can't think of Lijang or any control point as it's split dead down the middle. This is our side and this is their side. You can't think of Lijang like that, because there's so many angles you can come in from and so many angles you can use to adapt. And that's a lot of what I see teams do, is not adapt, because they cut the map in half and now their options are limited. So you limit your options in half. Nothing says, sure, if you're both equally apart from your spawns. If you die here, barring time, but say if 2 people die at the exact same spots, they're going to come back at the same time. There is no, well, we died at the same spot, but since I'm farther, air quote, from my spawn, I'm now going to take longer. If 2 people die on these halves at the exact same time, they will arrive at the same point. So what I'm trying to get at is you have to be willing to stop looking at I split down the middle. Now what we're looking at is, now it's not their side and our side. It's whoa, that's really big. it's our side. And you are free to use all of it. Nothing says that you are limited to this, wherever this thought came from, of that it's 50-50. Our side, their side. Nothing ever says that. The amount of things you can open up yourself to is amazing if you just take a look at it. So this, I highlighted this because this is what Astrantia saw. So Astrantia had so much more lanes than straight down the middle. They also had less coverage because there are more lanes coming into there. There's like 6 or something like that. But since we wanted to fight here, the red team wanted to fight here, and didn't want to take it all the way around, or all the way around this way, or up top, or this way and then up top, because we were so set as we come in, well, we can't really go over there because that's their spawn. Again, that's that weird thinking that somehow that's their spawn. We got here and we put up an invisible wall, except for the Hanzo for whatever reason. So we got here. Our whole team, besides the Hanzo, put up an invisible wall that said we couldn't cross it. Hanzo went ahead and did that because, you know, fighting a man down and not getting the fire for 10-50 seconds is better than fighting with the team. That's okay. Don't know really the thinking of that. But anyway, so this is invisible wall, and now that's our limit. And that's how you lose fights. You bar your mind and you say, this is how a map works, and that's that. And this is the angle, and I really like this angle that they took. They might have been a little cocky on it. Their slight positioning, but it was there. I would have preferred this angle right there. This one right here. Obviously not that. But having the ability to go behind this. Because now you're saying, okay, you want to fight in there. Well, we're going to fight from here. And we're not going to invest our Rhine shield because we have this wall right here. As much. And when you charge in, our Reinhardt's still going to have a shield, and we're going to be working yours. And you're not going to have a lot to work with unless you come out and risk my fair booping you. So, that's it. I really like this positioning. Would have liked it a little farther back, but it worked. So yeah, so this is that position they took. Hard to get to. Easy to get out of kind of thing if you know how to hold it. This is where that Hanzo kind of had that lane here. Not really helping his team. Trying to get the Pharah. Doesn't get the Pharah. So that was a risk that didn't need to be taken, but it was took anyway. And then this is where that Zenyatta was at. So this is kind of showing you what they could see and how visible they were. So they could see all this, all inside here, all this lane right here. And then you have your common, you know, what you see. So let me back up just a tad bit because I want to show that 50-50 thing again. Let me see if I can get to it. Oh boy. Okay. Let me see if I get a... Okay, so this is kind of what I'm talking about. So right now, this is a control point. And what's happening with both a lot of teams is that we think that there is an invisible wall sometimes, unless you're holding like up here. But I'm talking as far as strategy. So we think that there's an invisible wall, and that this is their side. Oops, went a little too far. Because I'm not talking about. So this is where I'll be stopping right here. So right there and right there. So we think that there's some magical field that we cannot use this or this, and that we are limited to this one side, and that we can't cross over it if we need to. So for some reason we're okay with doing this, and we're okay with doing holding here. For some reason that's okay. We see a lot of teams that's fine, but you can use this whole area. This is a control point. Secondary. Tertiary. That was a really weird circle. I am not an artist. This is all for you to use. If you're the blue team, you can use all of this to attack. If you're the red team, you can use all of this to attack. And if you need to wrap around like this to get a point, or wrap around, that might be a little extreme, but if you need to wrap around like this to get a point, or wrap around like this to get a point, or maybe do something funky like you jump straight in and then you go and jump straight back out and then kind of do this, and you're not I'm not saying that these are legitimate, but these are the out. So kind of like the red team had. So they came in here and they got stuck here, and they said, okay, we're just gonna bash in right here. No one said you had to do that. You could have just gone in here, out here, in through here, and kind of came out through way. Or you could have quickly just went this way. Backed out, you go to win. Oh, yeah, that's not gonna work. Let's try it this way. Or let's try it this way. Or let's try all going right here. And then attacking from there. Nothing says that you are limited to this one side. This one side. You're free to use this whole map and adjust to it. Arcadian knows about lanes and positioning, sort of, about what that entails. It's called a Rhine dance. And just to kind of explain to that, if you ever seen a Rhine battle, or Rhine, what I call a dance, if one Rhine goes this way, the other Rhine goes this way. And if this Rhine goes back this way, this Rhine goes back this way. So it's always this kind of like dance, and pretend these are facing each other. I'm terrible at drawing arrows, so like that way. So if we, if Rhine is, if I'm Rhine and I go like this, my enemy should, in theory, always be facing me hold on. If I go and do something like this, my enemy should be doing something like this. So it's they're always facing each other. And if this Rhine comes this way and tries to do something like this, whoa, that is terrible. So if this Rhine try to rob again, kind of hard to explain. So if this Rhine, this blue Rhine comes over here, and if this other Rhine is going this way, and they're always blocking their team. So that's kind of why I talk about all these different lanes and your positioning around it, because you really have a lot of options if you don't close your mind to being stuck with half a map.